You're not waking up at 2 a.m. because you're old. You're waking up because of one innocent habit you've repeated for years without knowing it was stealing your sleep. And tonight, it might happen again, unless you hear this. What if the real reason you keep waking up at exactly 2:13 a.m., night after night, has nothing to do with your bladder being full? What if the cause isn't old age or stress or a weak body, but a single mistake that almost no one talks about? Imagine this. You're not sick, you're not broken, but you've been unknowingly sabotaging your sleep every evening in the simplest way possible, just by when you drink your water. Thanks for joining us here on Voice of Age, a warm space for real talk about life, health, and heart in our later years. If what you just heard stirred even a hint of curiosity or recognition, then this message is for you. And if you're someone who values deep, honest conversations about growing older with grace, do consider subscribing to our channel. Your support helps us bring more meaningful stories to life. Let's begin with a truth that very few people know, and even fewer talk about. Across America, millions of older adults wake up in the dead of night, not once, but twice, sometimes 3 times. They get up, shuffle toward the bathroom, not fully awake, not fully asleep. They return to bed, stare at the ceiling. Minutes pass, hours. Morning comes, but there's no feeling of rest, just foggy thoughts, aching limbs, and a quiet question. Why can't I sleep through the night anymore? For years, the default answer has been, it's just part of getting older. But that's not the full truth. In fact, recent studies in sleep science and urology have uncovered something quietly revolutionary. Many of these nighttime awakenings have less to do with age and more to do with the timing of water intake. Let's unpack that. As we age, the body produces less of a hormone called vasopressin. This hormone plays a critical role in telling our kidneys to slow down fluid production while we sleep. When vasopressin levels fall, as they naturally do with age, the kidneys keep working full time, even at night. That means more urine is made, more quickly. So even if you didn't drink a gallon of water before bed, your bladder still fills up faster than it used to. But there's more. The kidneys themselves aren't as efficient as they once were. They filter slower. They adjust fluid balance more gradually. So, when you drink water late in the day, say after dinner, or while watching television around 8 p.m., your body struggles to process that input smoothly. And by 2 or 3 a.m., the result shows up in one place, your bladder. Still, that's only part of the story. After the age of 60, the bladder becomes more sensitive too. In your younger years, it might have taken 400 to 500 milliliters of urine before you felt the urge to go. But now, sometimes just 150 milliliters, about half a glass, is enough to trigger that get up now signal. Worse yet, once that signal hits your brain, even if it's false or premature, your nervous system goes into alert mode. The sleep cycle breaks, and often it doesn't recover until the next night, only for the same pattern to repeat. Now, here's the surprising part. This isn't a disease. It's not a failure. It's a message. Your body is adapting. It's evolving in its own way, but the modern world hasn't taught us how to adapt with it. No one taught us that we'd need to shift our rhythms, not just what we eat or how we move, but when we hydrate. We simply kept following old routines and quietly paid the price in lost sleep, restless mornings, and misdiagnosed fatigue. But the good news is, change is possible. In fact, it's incredibly simple. Because once you understand this one core truth, that when you drink may matter more than how much you drink, you're already halfway to reclaiming your nights. You can begin aligning with your body's new rhythm instead of pushing against it. And in the next section, we're going to talk about the 7 most common habits that unknowingly disrupt your sleep and how changing just one of them can make all the difference. Keep listening. This could be the beginning of the best sleep you've had in years. Every night, millions of older adults unknowingly repeat a quiet pattern that robs them of rest. They feel tired but restless. They prepare for bed with a cup of warm tea, a small bowl of soup, or just a final glass of water, believing these habits are comforting, even healthy. Yet, hours later, they find themselves waking at 2:30 a.m. or 3 a.m., the same time, again and again. They shuffle to the bathroom in silence, thinking this must be just what aging feels like. But what if it isn't? What if the real culprit isn't age, but timing? The truth is, the body has a rhythm, and as we grow older, that rhythm becomes more sensitive to disruption. The issue isn't that we drink water or tea or enjoy a light snack before bed. It's when we do these things, and how our body, now older and slower to adjust, responds to them. One of the most common yet overlooked mistakes is drinking large amounts of fluid after 6 or 7 p.m. Whether it's water, tea, milk, soup, or even a warm herbal drink, your kidneys still see it all as liquid that must be processed. At night, your kidneys are naturally trying to slow down. They're preparing the body to rest, to ease into stillness. But when you fill your system with fluid late in the evening, the kidneys don't get that break. Instead, they're pushed to keep working, filtering and producing urine long after you've gone to bed. Many older adults believe they're helping themselves by drinking chamomile tea at 9 p.m. or a warm glass of turmeric milk before sleep. But these comforting rituals, while emotionally soothing, are physiologically disruptive. They quietly build up in the bladder, and by the time your body enters deep sleep, it's already being interrupted by the need to wake and empty. Another quiet disruptor is the just-in-case bathroom trip. You don't really feel the urge, but you go anyway, thinking it's responsible. The problem is, this trains your bladder to send signals too early. Over time, your body learns to feel full when it's only partially so. The result? You start waking for no real reason, simply because the signal has become overactive. There's also a misunderstanding around food. Light soups, watery vegetables, even small bowls of fruit late in the evening. They all seem harmless. But these foods carry water, and that water counts. What you think of as a dry dinner may still be filling your bladder slowly and steadily through the night. None of these habits are harmful on their own. In fact, many were once helpful. But as the body changes, so must the rhythm of care. What once brought calm can now bring disruption, not because it is wrong, but because your body is no longer the same. It deserves a new kind of support, one that respects its timing, not just its needs. And once you start aligning with that rhythm, something surprising happens. Your body rests easier. The signals quiet down, and sleep, which once felt fragile, starts to return with a kind of grace you thought you'd lost. There is something profoundly beautiful about discovering that the solution to a long-standing problem is not drastic or complicated, but simple, gentle, even. For so many older adults who wake in the early hours, night after night, the answer may not lie in stronger medications or stricter routines. Instead, it lies in the quiet act of adjusting when water enters the body. Timing, not quantity, is the heart of this solution. You don't need to drink less. You need to drink earlier. The human body, particularly after the age of 60, responds best to rhythm, not sudden shifts, not surges of intake in the evening, but a steady, deliberate flow that honors the body's natural pace. The kidneys, the bladder, the nervous system, they all thrive when we stop flooding them at the very time they're winding down. That's why the most powerful change you can make is this. Consume the majority of your fluids between sunrise and late afternoon. Imagine your hydration like a symphony, starting with a strong overture in the morning, a glass of water upon waking, another after breakfast, a few sips mid-morning, and again with lunch. This is when your body is active, metabolism high, circulation strong. Your organs are awake and ready to work. By 4 p.m., begin slowing the tempo. You're not stopping, just softening the flow. Between 5 and 7 p.m., take only what feels necessary. Sip, don't gulp. And after 7:30 p.m., unless directed by your doctor, let water become an act of mindfulness. No more than 150 milliliters, just enough to feel soothed, never enough to weigh on your rest. But what if you take evening medications? Many do. In these cases, the goal is not to avoid water, but to use it sparingly and wisely. Swallow your pills with the minimum needed, a few calm sips instead of a full glass. And if dry mouth or thirst follows, reach not for a drink, but a teaspoon, gently moistening your mouth over time, not shocking your bladder with volume. Some may ask, isn't water always good for you? Yes, but even good things require timing. Just as the sun rises and sets, your body follows cycles of energy and recovery. Water nourishes, yes, but it also activates. It signals the body to filter, to respond. And if you activate too late, you interrupt what should have been deep repair. True care, in this chapter of life, is not just about what you give your body, but when you give it. And when your water rhythm aligns with your sleep rhythm, something clicks into place. The bathroom trips quiet down, your rest deepens. And suddenly, the hours between dusk and dawn are no longer a battlefield of awakenings, but a return to something precious, something whole. Rest, uninterrupted. Sometimes we search for complex solutions to problems that are rooted in the smallest details. A soft habit, a quiet environment, a shift in posture, a deeper breath. When it comes to reclaiming restful sleep, it is not always about what we remove from our lives, but what we gently adjust. And for older adults, those subtle adjustments can restore something that once felt lost: peace at night. The way we move during the day speaks directly to how we rest at night. As we age, circulation slows. Fluid tends to collect in the legs throughout the day, often without visible swelling. But when you lie down at night, that hidden fluid begins to redistribute, often toward the kidneys. This unnoticed shift contributes to increased urine production at precisely the time your body wants to be still. A gentle morning walk, a few stretches, or even 10 minutes of light chair movement can help release this buildup early, easing the burden on your bladder after sunset. Then there is the way we sleep, a detail many overlook. The common habit of lying on your back, especially with a thick pillow or heavy mattress, can subtly increase pressure on your bladder and lower abdomen. Sleeping on your left side with a soft pillow under your head and another between your knees can relieve that pressure. It also supports digestion and improves circulation, creating a more restful posture for the entire body. It is a small physical change, but one that has helped countless people sleep more deeply without interruption. The environment around you matters too. Many of us were raised to associate warmth with safety. But in today's climate, heavy blankets, thick pajamas, and closed windows can create overheating, triggering sweating and mild dehydration. That, in turn, sends signals of thirst or restlessness to the brain. Instead, consider sleeping in light, breathable fabrics. Keep your room slightly cool, airy, and calm. Not cold, but gently refreshing. Your body responds to these cues with comfort and relaxation, reducing unnecessary stimulation to the bladder. And what about those times when you wake up, unsure if it's your bladder or just a moment of light sleep? Before rushing out of bed, pause. Ask yourself, do I truly feel full or am I reacting to habit? Take 5 slow, deep breaths. Rest your hand on your belly. Often, the urgency fades when you give your body a moment to settle. This practice, repeated night after night, teaches your nervous system that not every signal demands immediate action. These are not drastic changes. They are gentle, respectful ones, a way of meeting your body where it is, not where it used to be. And in doing so, you open a door to deeper rest. Not because you forced your body into silence, but because you finally gave it the conditions it needed to feel safe enough to sleep. There's something profoundly human about finding relief in a story that feels like your own. A quiet echo of your experience, told through someone else's voice, can shift the way you see yourself. Not as a person with a problem, but as someone standing at the edge of a gentle solution. And in the world of sleep disruption and nightly awakenings, the most powerful stories often come from those who made small, compassionate changes and were met with peace. Take Henry from Flagstaff, Arizona. For years, he believed waking up twice a night was simply part of aging. He tried everything: herbal teas, less water, white noise machines, but nothing worked. It wasn't until he heard about the body's internal clock and how it responds to fluid timing that something clicked. He began drinking the bulk of his water before lunch and kept evenings dry and slow. Within 2 weeks, he was sleeping through the night. No drama, no pills, just timing, and a kind of quiet respect for his body's new rhythm. Linda, 72, from a small town in Vermont, had a different ritual. Every night at 9 p.m., she would sip her beloved chamomile tea, convinced it was helping her unwind. But every night, at around 2:30 a.m., she would wake, alert, agitated, and confused. It wasn't until she shifted her tea time to 6 p.m. and replaced her late-night drink with a few sips of warm water that her nights transformed. "I didn't know water could behave like that," she told me, eyes wide with something between wonder and regret. Her body hadn't failed her. It had been speaking the whole time. She had just needed to listen differently. James from Ohio used to drink nearly a liter of water between 7 and 9 p.m., believing he was flushing toxins and aiding digestion. But what he flushed instead was his sleep. After switching to morning hydration and limiting his evening intake to a small glass at dinner time, he began waking only once a night. Then, not at all. He called it a quiet revolution, the kind of victory no one applauds but everyone deserves. And Eleanor, once proud of her nightly raw salad with cucumbers and tomatoes, only learned through trial and error that even healthy foods can disrupt an aging bladder if taken too late. By moving her salads to lunchtime and enjoying a warm, simple dinner instead, her sleep deepened, not as an accident, but as a reward for realignment. These are not miracle stories. These are real people, just like you, who didn't fight their age but adjusted to it, gently, wisely, and with love. They learned that the answer wasn't control or denial or enduring. It was cooperation, it was timing, it was kindness. And perhaps now, as you carry their stories with you, a quiet part of you is ready to begin your own shift. Not through force, but through listening. Through honoring the signals, the seasons, and the silent intelligence within your body that still even now knows how to rest. As the sun rises and you reflect on another night's rest, remember that true change often begins in the smallest of shifts. You've learned how something as ordinary as the timing of your water intake can transform the way your body moves through sleep, guiding you back to a place of uninterrupted rest. It isn't about depriving yourself of comfort or forcing extreme routines. It's about listening closely to the body's evolving rhythms and responding with gentle adjustments. When Henry, Linda, James, and Eleanor discovered that hydration, posture, and evening habits were speaking to them, they didn't fight their age. They honored it. They found that respect and awareness can turn frustration into freedom, nightly awakenings into peaceful slumber, and confusion into clarity. The profound lesson here is this: our bodies remain wise, even as they change. They are not adversaries, but partners in the journey of aging, sending signals that deserve attention. By embracing the simple act of aligning our habits, when we drink, how we move, how we rest, with our body's natural patterns, we cultivate a deeper trust in ourselves. This isn't just about sleep. It's a reminder that every stage of life calls for new ways of care, rooted in empathy and understanding. Today, take a moment to notice one small habit you might adjust, perhaps shifting your water intake earlier, or pausing before rising in the night to ask if you truly need to. Try it for a week and observe how your rest, energy, and peace of mind respond. What one simple change will you commit to tonight? Please share your thoughts in the comments below so we can learn from each other's experiences. And if you found this helpful, subscribe to our channel to support more stories and insights designed for your well-being.